So this year, I just came off a multi six figure month, and that was my goal for the year, funny enough. And last year, that was kind of what I hit too. So when you can hit your yearly goals in a month, you're scaling yourself. You have a system, you have something that's working, and now you're building on top of it. So how do you get there? There's three unlocks I figured out in my trading career that I want to help you understand because it might help you scale faster, which can blow your mind what you can put in the markets and get out in a month, let alone a year if you apply yourself. So here's the thing. When you figure out the markets and you figure out, I want to figure out what to make money with, what strategies to use, you're going to be overloaded. Like if I go on, let's say YouTube, and I start looking at trading options, you're going to see so many different people doing so many different things. And the issue here is not many of those people are doing a sustainable strategy for you. And it might be for them, but here's the key. This strategy that is their strategy might have been their strategy years ago, yet they're pigeonholed it to being a day trader, being a swing trader, because that's their brand now. But they might not even do it anymore because as a brand, you make enough money from your business at some point that you don't necessarily need to do the thing anymore. So that's the issue with the trading space. And that's why when I was day trading, when I was swing trading, when I was doing crypto, staying up in the middle of the night, I was basically just spinning my wheels with the wrong systems. And this is the first thing to unlock if you want consistency is a consistent strategy. Plain and simple. Here's what we teach our students. Here's how it gets them the edge. Here's how it gets them winning earlier. We tell them sell put options. And we don't even tell them to just pick a stock, pick an entry. No, this day, you enter this option you sell, this stock you look at. That's the system. But just getting to the place of I'm going to sell puts is the first thing to focus on. And it might seem like I keep running through this too much. Maybe you're kind of bored of me talking about put selling, but at the end of the day, the win rate is highly in your favor. So, option strat, just go to cash secured put and let's go to TQQQ. It's an index fund for God's sake. So if I go out of the money, I can make 5% return, which is my goal with the options I sell, and I have a 76% chance of profit. So you don't have to be anybody special to be a winner. That's the key to the first thing I figured out in my career. Option selling just gives you the boost, the floor of winning, which is 70% at that point. You can make it 80 or 90 if you want to sacrifice the gains to make 3, 2, 1.5%. Who knows? The point is raise your floor, everybody. Get to the strategy that can do that versus you trying to raise your win rate floor. Day trading, the win rate's like 50% if you add an indicator. And maybe it's worse if you add the wrong indicator. So indicators literally hurt you in some cases. If you backtest them, it's proven. It's proven. So here's the second unlock that again changed everything once I started winning was focus. Focus on one thing. And this is what a lot of my best students at the million, two, five, $10 million account sizes are doing, which seems crazy. Why would $1 million account put one trade in, $1 million for that trade? Because they understand how to win. They've seen the system win, and it's a natural progression to just go deeper. So let me show you the craziness I did years ago. I was kind of hammering the last crypto cycle in 2021, I believe. And what was happening was I was selling puts with Riot. And Riot, the stock alone, went up like 1,000%, 500%. And this is one stock, one portfolio. That was it. I used 40K. It was a lot for me back in the day. My account, my bank account never exceeded like 10 grand for probably my whole life until this point. So putting 40K in Riot was absolutely ridiculous looking back. But I was selling puts around this area. And when I was selling puts all in on this one ticker, I was generating about 10%, not a month, but every week because of the volatility on Riot at the time. What happened was Riot went up 300%. I did some of the right moves at the right time, and my account went from 40K to 200. I mean, the math makes sense, right? The stock goes up 300%. It wouldn't be crazy to think my account would go up that much as well. But I ended up doing tons of put selling through even the next 6 months, even the next 100 days. That's where I was still doing this, even in a bad downtrend. Riot was absolutely crashing, yet put selling was working out great. The system was still winning because this is why we put sell. You can win in multiple different markets. I crushed the bull market. I crushed the bear market. I crushed the sideways market in some cases. So that's just telling you and giving you an example that's concrete that option selling can help you keep an edge, sustain an edge over time. And if you look at this over a big picture, think about the market over a big picture. The market's going to go through a multi-year bull run, maybe a sideways market, and then eventually the recession. But that one we have to be careful of. So here's the third unlock. This is, again, the game changer. From everything I've told you in this video, this is the most important. During this stretch here, and during what I learned earlier, I did something different. Not only did I concentrate on a ticker, but I became an owner of the ticker. I sold puts to become someone who owned the stock and held the stock. That gave me a lot of upside because if I can make 10% a week, that's 30% a month. But this candle alone was 130%. So if you have a third of your portfolio in stock, 70% in puts, that little concentration of stock is a huge benefit for the whole portfolio. And so I use this strategy over and over and over again is to integrate the wheel as the full wheel. I want to be doing puts and calls, puts and stock. You want to be making sure you can kind of have all sides of the wheel at all times. And I did this later in 2025 to not only have another massive year, keep scaling, but just to repeat it for the full year. So the issue with Riot was I hit that ticker, I couldn't find another ticker, couldn't repeat success in 2022. So 2024, I did 3 tickers that year, same idea. I had Tesla, TSLL. This ticker was sideways for so long, and within like 3 weeks, it went up 100%. And then later that year, it went up like 400%. So that ticker, if we owned it, you're doubling your money, you're tripling, quadrupling your money. And I was very intentional when I did the wheel in 2025. I always owned an asset during that time. And so when people ask me, Matt, why do you not sell many puts? Because I know ownership is the end game. Ownership is where the big bucks are coming. For example, Micron. You can make bank on Micron selling puts, but if you just held the stock, just the plain non-leveraged Micron, you're doubling your money in 10-week period. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully this helps you guys understand how I progressed. It's just 3 simple things that have changed my life, but this is what we teach for our million-plus student account level. Some people we coach one-on-one, but those people are starting to make that transition soon. I got a message from one of our students. He put $1 million in Soxel for a CSP, got out the next day for like 4% return, I believe, or 5%. That's huge. That's like 40 grand in a day. So how would he would have got there? Being heavy. And that's step 2. But how much would he have made if he bought the stock? That's step 3. So if you guys can understand the path, you can scale and keep consistency there. Peace out, everyone. Have a good week.